I've been annoyed at myself for not doing this in
Yeah.
other pods. Should we say anything? Any biographical?
All right.
I think you should say how you discovered Enard.
Okay,
We
I
should
will.
say some things about Enard.
Yeah, okay, I'll say what I
Because
know.
I had
but-
no idea who he was before you
Yeah.
mentioned him to me, which is kind of insane.
Yeah,
I
that's
feel like
true.
He might be. I feel like I know we're Franco. Also, congratulations
Yeah.
on the French drop. of
Yeah,
your
yeah.
book.
We're
March
Francophiles.
6th. We're
Yeah.
Francophiles now. I think he might be. I think he might be top 3.
Yeah.
Top 3 alive.
Yeah, I agree.
He might be top 3, dude.
So
Okay, so
Enard. So I found him. There's this book. I'm not gonna mention the writer because I got beef with him in my head.
Okay.
But he had like recommendations at the back of his book.
Okay.
And one of them was Zone.
Okay.
And so I was I saw it. I saw the description. I was like, I'll check this out.
Yeah.
And I ended up reading it. And then, I was fucking with it. It's crazy. And then, that just put me on the path.
Okay.
But
How long ago was this?
This was in 2021.
You marked the end when you finished Compass.
Yeah, and I marked the end when I finished Zone too. I didn't even realize it when I did it.
2021.
It was December 8th, the day the Zone takes place.
Wait, but when does Compass take place? I think it might play.
No, so I don't know.
No, but
You think it's December?
5th, because he says 2 weeks ago is November 17th.
Oh, so you think it's December 5th?
And then why?
So they all start in
and
December.
Why does it start on December 11th, bro?
So okay, wait,
so
we got to talk about that.
Let's chill out, dude.
So Enard, he
1970. No.
1972, born in France,
1972.
small town in
So
France.
he's 52 now.
Yeah. Then he moved out to the Middle East, or he moved to Paris. He studied Arabic, and then he lived in the Middle East for a while.
Did he go to Po Sci or whatever, like you talk of Science Po?
I think so.
That's what the
Yeah.
character is, right?
But so he
Okay.
speaks Arabic, French,
Is he
Spanish.
What's is he half?
I think he's just French.
He's just French?
Yeah, I think he's French.
But he does a lot of Middle Eastern studies.
Yeah.
Okay.
He lived in the Middle East for a long time. He speaks Arabic. He taught Arabic at University of Barcelona, where he lives now.
Okay.
But he's just French. I think that the Gravediggers is like the most biographical one because that's the town he grew up in
that
New
right?
York.
Oh, is that right?
In France, yeah.
Okay. So the main 3 books are Zone 2008, so that's when he's 36.
Yeah.
2008 Translate 2010. Then Compass 2015.
I think it was 2000.
13?
Yeah, I think it's 2015. Yeah, and it won the Prix Goncourt.
The Prix Goncourt.
And then Gravediggers was 21.
21.
So they're 7 years apart,
They're
right?
yes.
They're all 7 years apart.
Yeah, 6, 7.
And I think they're all like related. These 3 books.
Well, I mean, there's stuff being mentioned throughout them.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you read Zone first in December of 2021.
And then I read
So
Compass.
after Tropicalia was done.
No.
No.
It was.
When did Tropicalia sell?
It sold in
You
2020.
got a French copy on you?
No, not yet. They're
yeah,
still in
I
the
gotta
mail.
get one.
No, I'll toss you one when I get it. But it sold in 2022. So I read this before I finished the last draft of Tropicalia.
Okay.
And then that summer of 2022, I went to Europe
Okay.
with Gabby.
Okay.
And that's where I was reading Compass. I was reading
You're reading
Compass in
Compass.
Europe, which is a good place to read it, moving all around
For sure.
Europe.
For sure.
And then I read this in November. It just came out. I got
exactly.
the
Exactly.
Fitzcarraldo before the new directions came out.
Okay.
You know.
Damn. So then, and I read them in backwards order. I read Gravediggers first recently.
Yeah.
And then, so it's been winning the Prix Goncourt. I feel like it should be more well known. Joshua Cohen gassed him up a lot.
Yeah, he reviewed Compass in the
Merv
New York
Emery
Times.
wrote about
yeah.
him? Or no?
I don't know if she wrote, but she was gonna do
She
that
was gonna
event
do
with
an
him,
event.
but she didn't write about him.
Okay, bet.
But yeah, when I mention him to people don't know who it is.
People don't. Someone I just talked to bodied Gravediggers and wrote me a letter.
Oh, for
this
real?
morning, and he was blown away by it. He wasn't feeling the other French novel. I
Yeah,
was talking
see,
about
so
it a lot
which
with
one?
the young boy.
Which one is
The
that?
damn secret history.
Oh,
Most
yeah.
secret history. Of
Yeah.
But he was being he's being a little bit of a hater, but
But no, so tell me what you thought.
Okay,
overall
I mean,
impression.
okay, bro. So, Gravediggers, I'm coming in. We already talking about the diary form.
Yeah.
And
And that's what excited you about it.
That's initially what excited me
Yeah.
about it. It's 7 parts. Had you told me to read that part of Zone?
Yeah, I did. I sent you those pages.
But was that before
late
I
in the
started
book?
it? I can't remember.
No,
I think
'cause-
I'd already started reading Gravediggers.
Yeah, I think so.
So
Because you tried.
I was
Zone
on a bender. I was
first,
only
yeah.
reading things that were in diary form.
Yeah.
I was, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was in, and then on page 36 or 43, like halfway, or like right off the bat, there's some, first of all, Welbeck's translator too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm like, I'm in off that. And yeah, right off the bat, there was like, I don't know, there's like just there was some funny ass like
Yeah.
because he's writing about women in a certain way
Yeah.
too, in a French ass way. Dude.
Yeah.
In a
No,
French
it's really
way.
funny
In a French way.
That diary is really funny.
Yeah, and there's that part. I'm always like about to post it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's just chill out, dude. Stop trying to bomb. Yeah, but so then there's that element. He's on. I mean,
What happens in that part? Tell us.
Should I read?
Yeah, read it. This the EDU version. We got a site.
Yeah, we gotta do that. When you're listening back, it's so annoying when both people go that part, and then damn, no one mentions it. All right, so listen. All right, so this is kind of what I was in on the book, which is good, dude. It's good to trace.
For sure.
It's good to
For sure.
chart how you get into a
Yeah.
writer. And pretty much anytime I read any part from this book, whoever I read it to usually starts reading it pretty quickly. And here, another thing about this book that I thought, I'll say, yeah, I swear to God, I feel like you should be leading this more, but, and I've said this before in recent pods too, but just I've read the epigraph, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, in our former lives, we've all been earth, stone, dew, wind, fire, moss, tree, insect, fish, turtle, bird, and mammal.
That's a good.
The Thich Nhat Hanh, that's the epigraph, and it's to the savage thinkers. So there's already some stuff about, I don't know, just, and he's a quick synopsis. Yeah, he's a anthropology student.
Yeah.
Going to a rural part of France.
David Mazon.
David Mazon.
Yeah, from Paris, and he's
from
going
Paris.
to study the agricultural
He's
life.
going to study the agricultural
Because
life in a
that's what he
rural
does.
area.
He's like a farming. He does a thesis in farming
Exactly.
or something
He
like
does a
that.
thesis, but then he can't finish his thesis and just wants to become a farmer.
Yeah.
But early on, he's like, he's having trouble being away from Paris. So yeah, just to finish that thought before was just like the idea of, death and afterlife, whatever.
Yeah.
He's obviously getting into stuff about that, and then I've actually ranted about this one enough. But basically, he's like having trouble being away from his girl out in the middle of nowhere, and it's his diary. So it's all December 19th. He's all. we gotta take a sec.
Wait, so he goes,
Go ahead.
just to set up his project,
Yeah.
he said, the goal of my thesis is to understand what it means to live in the country nowadays. An abstract, I thought, rather brilliant. And that's part of it, too. He's funny, because he really thinks he's real smart, and he goes in, and he thinks everyone in town's dumb, and so, it's a funny tone.
Yeah, and of course, and then that goes for like 70 pages, and you gas this up well to me, and then it goes into all kinds of other stuff in the middle sections. I gotta read.
No,
this.
read that part
Okay, I'll
for
read
sure,
this part.
for sure.
All right.
What
So,
day is it?
It's what?
What's entry is it? December 19th?
It's December 19th, continued on page 34. And he's all like trying to be good, he's trying to be focused on his tasks, and he keeps he's texting with he's messaging with this girl back in Paris whose name is Laura, and so the diary entry goes 1:00 in the morning. Great beginning to a diary.
Yeah.
As the great Milanowski says on page 122 of A Diary in the strict sense of the term, resolution, eliminate potential lechery from my intercourse with women. I suspect such resolutions are easier to make after one has achieved orgasm. I swear, this was the first and the last time. I feel overwhelmed by a terrible shame. Not Laura, apparently. On reflection, there's nothing shameful about it. People do this stuff all the time, it seems. The internet made in our image, angels and demons, a camera. I'm the one who asked her to unbutton her blouse. I'm to blame for things getting out of hand. At first, it was just a game, a deceptively puerile game. I know precisely where I wanted it to lead. I admit that. I had the idea in the back of my mind, as Blaise Pascal would say. Italic is a magical invention for emphasizing important terms because he's doing italics right here. I had the idea in the back of my mind deep down. I know what I wanted her to do, what I wanted us to do. I passionately desired her. It was my desire that led the dance. She had only to acquiesce because she is loving and tender. And if she ended up with her hand down her pajamas, I was to blame. I have to acknowledge that out of sheer magnanimity. The shame, or not shame perhaps, but guilt, when I think about it, it's not so much the shame associated with that curious sexual practice of synchronized onanism by high-speed broadband, such a bar, dude.
Yeah.
As it is my guilt at persuading her to do something that she did not want to do. I had manipulated her in order to achieve my goal. And if she allowed herself to be overcome with my desire and my lechery in order to please me, it's logical that she would feel no guilt. So I must make a resolution. Eliminate potential lechery from my intercourse with women. And then, basically, it goes, I wonder what Walter Benjamin would have thought about cybersex. The first and last time I solemnly swear.
Yeah.
And then it's great too, like, so basically, and then when he goes back to Paris after they get in like this huge blow up, and it's just like brutal.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was kind of in off that, and then I kept reading. And then got kind of well, and then just to stay in overview mode, Zone is relevant because it's all one sentence.
Yeah.
It's all one sentence.
Broken up in 24 chapters.
Yeah. So in Zone, and then that's I mean that's probably the main thing was like in Zone he's on a train, he's on a night train for 24 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah, 24 chapters.
Because it's the Iliad.
The Iliad, and it keeps coming back to the scene of the train.
Yeah.
And
it's all set up like it's a page a kilometer on the trip. Yeah.
Damn, I don't know all that. But just I guess like the way he writes about women, but it's like it's like real, but it's not. I don't know. It's good.
No, I know exactly.
And because he's like and he's having all these memories of different women in Zone. And then the reason why I was liking Compass so much was because Compass he's staying up all night. And the chapters are like times during the night. I was bodying this last night, dude. Just like this.
Up all night.
Yeah. And then he's thinking back on his memories with one woman.
Yeah. No, that's and like all of them, especially Zone and Compass, are like packed full with like a lot of history, like a lot of different stories from history, and it's all like the way it is. It's like a bunch of echoes and reflections, like the narrator trying to understand himself through all these historical stories. The way I see it,
Yeah.
And like in Zone, he's thinking about, that's like a military history of the area around the Mediterranean, because the guy he was a soldier in the Balkans,
right,
and then he became like a spy,
right,
and he's going to sell war crime secrets, and like he's kind of a snitch. He's going to sell it in Rome to to the Pope or the Vatican or whatever,
Vatican,
But so, he's remembering the whole way through kind of, it's like a history of violence, it involves like domestic violence too, and, military violence. And you see how it zooms into his personal life of violence, so.
Yeah. And
So I had I was thinking of framework of understanding these, because I think like these three, it's almost like a trilogy in some ways.
Okay.
And I think Zone is the Catholic book.
Okay.
I think Compass is the Muslim book, and I think Gravediggers is a Protestant book.
Oh, interesting.
So Compass is on December 8th, right?
Okay.
It's the Feast of the Immaculate Conception.
Oh, dude,
right?
I'm about to snap right now, dude. Wait, which one's December 8th?
Zone,
yeah.
It's all December 8th. It's the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, and he's going to Rome to sell these secrets to the Pope. Right? It's a Catholic-ass book. And what he's doing, I think, throughout is trying to figure out a way to confess in some way. It's like his own shit that he's going through.
Yeah.
And, the Immaculate Conception, right? And,
wait, how's that relate to... Okay.
So, he's trying to figure out, the Immaculate Conception. Jesus is the only child ever conceived without original sin. And I think he's trying to trace... Like, it goes back far, just the history of violence.
Right.
Like this history of sin that you're born with and that you can't escape.
Okay.
Like in that book, right, we hear about this general a lot from Spain, this Milan Istre, right? Who was Francisco Franco's general, who was all mutilated, right? He had one eye and he had one arm. Oh. Right? We hear about him early on all the time.
Is that what Papassou's based off of in the damn...
I don't know.
Okay, keep going.
But, and then we're wondering, like, what is it, like, that's why does this guy come up so much?
Right,
and then we get, when is that? That's, that's page 340. We get his mom was a concert pianist.
You talking about Zone or Compass?
Yeah, I'm Zone.
Okay.
And she's playing a concert for all these fascists.
Yeah.
Right? And it's his mom who gets him to go fight for Croatian nationalism, right? He's living in Paris, and she's getting him, she just convinced him. And, it's this tracing back, right, from when she was a kid. She was with the fascists. His grandpa witnessed some assassination, right? Yeah. It's this whole history of violence behind him that leads to him fucking up all the time.
Yeah.
And I think the central fuck up of the book is the incident with him and Stephanie and the baby, right? That wasn't a baby.
Yeah.
The Immaculate Conception, right? He had a Immaculate Conception.
Oh, wow.
And that's the pages I told you to read first, dude. A Zone, which are crazy.
I've read those a bunch of times, dude.
And, so that's kind of the thing with Zone and with all of Enard is, he'll be snapping off on the, this fucking Spanish general did blah, blah, blah and all this, and it's, a lot of times he gets into a sick rhythm.
Yeah.
But then he'll go back to, in scene with him and Stephanie, and he pulls up on Stephanie, right? And then that's when you're like, that's what gets me.
That's when it slaps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it's also relevant. I mean, part of why I've been reading it is just because it's one of the first things that I've been reading where I like if you look at my notes, it'll be like a couple Zone notes, and then it's just all my writing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like, if you think about the structure of how to write any story, you like have like the real time scene. You have the real time scene you're moving through, right? Of the novel, and then you have okay, this is one theory I had.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Just let me throw this out there. So you have the real-time scene you're going through. Then you have some type of, like, main memory story.
Yeah.
That, like, I often feel like can, in my writing, or in Enard's writing a lot of time, it's like some kind of memory you're working out.
For sure.
And oftentimes it can be a lost love. It can be some childhood thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's a thread. And then you have some type of, like, knowledge you're imparting on the reader. You should. So, like, in Fuckboy, like, the world of doing Postmates, like, being hospitalized, or whatever, like, all the books he's reading, and all his ideas on art.
The focus on work, too, and how a job is done. And
so this is like knowledge you're imparting, but it's kind of mixed in the scene, because as you're doing a job, it's part of the scene.
Yeah.
But then you have like and then you're kind of explaining how it works.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is a thing that like, it's actually good for, I feel like I think I'm kind of jacking Ford, Richard Ford a little bit, spin about this. You have to impart some intelligence or knowledge onto the reader. So then, and then obviously, the memory is like, the traumatic stuff he went through, whatever, am I writing, whatever. And then the real-time scene is whatever I picked, like a year and a half, right? 4 seasons.
Yeah.
In Zone and Compass, the real time is shrunk way down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Into one train ride or one night of being unable to sleep, right? Same what Fosse does, same what Bernard does. Bernard kind of started this, I feel like. And then what that does, then you have, and oftentimes in Zone, we learn that he's dealing, he feels like he's fighting all his wars, he feels fucked up. He's also looking at the place he's in, and then he keeps going. The Zone is all these places around the Mediterranean, around the Holy Land, and then he's thinking about the wars in World War I, and he keeps relating back to Iliad, back to older wars, and we're repeating the wars over and over again. I was going to say, Mathias Enard's favorite thing is being with the girl and walking up to a statue, and then just doing a 7-page rant about the history of the statue, and then going back and be like, and she was wearing these, leggings, and her
there's a
sweet.
Wait. Wait, let me.
I was like, that's Mathias Enard's mode, dude. His
Zone.
Favorite thing is pulling up to a statue and then just like going crazy on her about all his knowledge. But then
go ahead.
Yeah.
Wait, no, okay, so
you go off.
No, so him and Sarah in Compass are walking around. He just
What page?
This is 321.
Oh, in Compass.
Right, so in Compass.
Dude, this is where I got up to.
Yeah.
This is what I was reading when you pulled up.
So he pulls up, and he goes to see her at her thesis thing or whatever, and then he sees her and he goes, Of course, I should not have pointed out right away that she had lost a lot of weight, that she was pale,
Exactly.
her eyes lined, that wasn't very clever. But I was so surprised by these physical transformations, so pushed to futility by anguish that I couldn't help myself. And that day I had brought about, worked on, waited for, imagined, started off on a lamentable footing. Sarah was annoyed. She tried not to show it. And then they go to Hediat's apartment.
Yeah, they go to Hediat's apartment, the blind owl.
And then finally she goes, and he's blabbing and blabbing and blabbing like he always does. She kept a sticky silence while I lurched into hysterical chatter. And then she goes, Franz, you're getting on my nerves. It's incredible. You've been talking without interruption for 2 kilometers. Good Lord, how talkative you can be.
Oh, my
That's
God,
so funny.
dude.
He pulls up to a statue.
He pulls up. She's just ranting. Yeah.
Good Lord, how talkative
that's
you
me
can
for
be.
real. I'm all like, yo, listen to this. I'm going to read all this.
No, I was like, I feel that.
Yeah, dude.
He annoying a girl with.
He loves pulling up somewhere, just going to, how history repeats himself.
Yeah.
History repeats itself.
But what were you talking about?
So I was going to say, so the scene is shrunk. And then there's, there's in both cases, Compass and Zone. I mean, and you could say the first part and the first and last part.
Compass and Zone are kind of the same book in
kind of
some
similar,
ways.
yeah. So
really
funny.
similar.
I finished Zone. I started reading. I literally was bodying that.
Yeah.
Because I read the first 150 pages first on my
I remember.
phone. I had to reread them.
Yeah.
But I wanted to reread them.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is so easy to read because Zone is just like, dude, once you start going on a side rant, you're like, bro, what, dude? He's like, this arm. But I was going to say, like, the knowledge aspect, man's goes crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
And I often say that when people are doing creative writing, like, what do you know about that that uniquely know about?
Yeah.
Right? So I'll be like, oh, I have certain experiences that I feel like other people don't know about that help you understand, what the character is going through. Same with you're whatever.
Yeah.
You're not the city, all this Rio or whatever. But this fool just knows so much about the history of about history.
Yeah.
So like, I was like, and then what you want to do is start looking at whatever your like knowledge bank is, and have the reader be able to connect it to how it's helping you understand
everything
what
else, the memories,
the memories,
the current
what
scene,
he's going through in the scene.
And he does an amazing job.
He does an amazing. He almost goes too far.
Yeah.
And what's the anchor? What's the main thread? And I feel like the reason why, and I feel like a Zone sometimes it's just like, I mean, it's part of it's like a modernist, ambitious ass book. I think it's so fucking sick, dude. And sometimes like when because I stopped a couple times at Zone. But I've just been bodying Compass even though I didn't finish it.
For sure, that's how I feel too.
Again.
When you're reading Zone, you got to stop sometimes, especially since it's like this guy got decapitated.
Exactly. I know. He's like, and
they had a word that comes up again and again. That is that enucleation. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Which I think is when you take someone's eye out. Right? I didn't look it up. I meant to look it up.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And so, but it's savage.
Yeah, it's savage. It's savage. But you want so you want to have the thing you can come back to, whether it's the scene or the memory. Like, and in Zone, he's also it's a younger book. It's 36, so it is you come back to the damn train. Right?
Yeah.
And it's sick every time you come back, and you go back, but he's remembering he's about to go see a woman, Sashka, and then he has like 3 different.
Yeah, it's Sashka, Marianne,
and Stephanie.
And Stephanie.
So he's like.
And his mom a little bit.
Yeah. So he's remembering, and her little older piano students that would come over when he's a little boy. So I'm taking so long to make this point. The point is in Compass, it's like masterful because the memory that kind of ties it all back together is his loss of his woman Sarah.
Yeah.
But she was like a grad student in something a little bit different. But that has crossovers to his damn rants.
For sure.
So
exactly. They were experiencing all that together. That's how they related to each other. All that knowledge of
exactly.
Exactly. Because he's a musicologist.
So
he knows a lot about. But it's kind of musical, the whole thing.
It is
right.
Musical.
Because it's all these, tones, and I mean I don't know how a symphony works, but there's all sorts of different threads of sound, right? That all echo and reverberate with each other and harmonize to make something.
Yeah, for sure. Damn.
But yeah, go ahead.
No, but I was gonna say.
See, this is Enardian though. You roll off, do something else, and you come back to the main thread. Try to impart some knowledge.
Yeah, in Compass, he's looking at a lot of people's biographies of these different.
Yeah.
Look at said. Yeah, and I was gonna. That's what made me stall was how I gotta see how this book ends, dude.
Yeah.
You could tell me, but how Sarah, she's like all obsessed with all death and
yeah, because the spark of the
depression
book
and
is that she sent him
suicide.
I might have to tell you how the book goes.
Tell me how.
But so the spark of the book, right, is that she sends him an article about these.
Okay, let's start with Compass.
Yeah, okay. She sends him an article.
He's in Vienna in a hotel room.
It's in his apartment.
Oh, it's in his apartment.
Yeah, he's from Vienna. And his name's Franz Ritter. Yeah. Does that remind you of anything? Hans Ritter.
Oh my God. Dude.
It's got to be 2666, right? True. Because I think there's a whole Bologna thing going on, and a thread. The Bologna influence.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot of influence.
Well,
obviously, he knows a lot of fucking books. Just by reading it. But anyway, Sarah sends him an article that she wrote about these people in this community. It's Sarawak, and it's like I think it's in Malaysia or something like that.
Yeah,
and these people make wine out of corpses, and they drink.
Whoa!
It's the wine of the dead, right? And he's kind of freaked out about all this because he just got news from his doctor that he's probably going to die. And he hasn't seen Sarah in a while. They've known each other for a long time, and he was madly in love with her. So he's up all night. He can't sleep because he thinks he's going to die. He's wondering, Sarah sent him this fucking creepy shit. The dog and the upstairs neighbors scratching at the ground,
Yeah.
And so he's just up all night thinking.
Can't sleep, bro.
Yeah, thinking about his memories with Sarah, thinking about the shit he knows, his travels in he spent a lot of time in the Middle East, in Syria, and Iran.
He was a pussy and didn't fucking make a move.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a big thing that kept coming up all the time in Zone and Compass was this theme of cowardice. All the time. I think it's Francis. See, Franz and Francis. Damn. It's the same name too. It's the same book. Yeah. But it's a different book. It's different, but it's it's the same idea.
Same, but different.
They're both cowards in a lot of different ways.
Well, yeah.
And okay, what do you think of that?
About Zone and
yeah.
Well, yeah.
He calls himself a coward all the time.
Yeah, but
and he calls other people cowards.
Yeah, but
I know he fucks people up and
he kills people.
Yeah, he was a brutal soldier.
Oh shit, we're gonna find it. We're gonna find our rhythm on this, but that's why it's Iliad.
No, tell me why it's Iliad. Maybe we should start with Zone. Yeah, just go chronological. But yeah, the radiator's making noise. Okay, so Zone. Yeah, we kind of introduced it a little bit.
With Zone?
Yeah, right. It's a soldier. He's Croatian, right? Go ahead. It's the Iliad. It's a modern Iliad.
Okay, well, in the Iliad, Achilles, like they pull. This is okay.
Yeah.
They pull up on Achilles and what's his boy's name again?
Patroclus.
Patroclus, and the whole squad. They pull up on Troy to fight like Hector and them, but basically, and they get kind of fucked up, and then Patroclus gets killed. And then, I think the war, kind of ends. Yeah. But, Achilles is so pissed.
Yeah, because he didn't want to fight.
But
right? I was halfway through, and he wasn't fighting because he was all mad at Agamemnon.
Oh, okay.
Right?
He starts fighting, bro.
Yeah.
And he can't let it go.
Yeah.
And he fucking pulls up on Hector and murks Hector. It's revenge for killing his friend. But there's a part late in Zone. Remember his friend?
Yeah, his friend Andy. He got killed shitting.
So this dude's on a train, remembering all of his failures with women.
Yeah.
Thinking back on, with the whole briefcase full of all these, secrets of
war crime stuff.
War criminals, evidence on war criminals. But he also was in war, and
for 18 months in the Balkans.
Yeah, and his friend got got killed.
Yeah.
And then at the around the
While
end,
he was taking a shit, he
while
got
he's taking a
fucking
shit, damn,
murked.
dude, some of those recon missions were
I know.
told so sick.
I know.
Dude. When they fuck the guy up.
Yeah. Oh, how about
they're on the hillside. And,
yeah,
this is
they're
also
creeping
very
down there.
Enardian too,
Yeah.
because what he
Where is
does,
that?
like, he turns like somebody's biography. He's also taking shots at an insane amount of like real people here.
Yeah.
I didn't know Burroughs killed his wife.
Yeah, by accident.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he does too, because that's part of the big project is the domestic violence too.
Right. Oh yeah, because what does he do? What does the character do?
Well,
that one night he
wait, I'll pull that up. Yeah, I'll pull that up because that's representative.
Yeah.
No, but go ahead. Talk about Burroughs.
Yeah, Burroughs, but then he also says Burroughs killed, and obviously Malcolm Lowry like hit his wife.
Yeah. Yeah, he tried to strangle her to death.
So then whenever he thinks of like a city, he starts going on these rants about like the history of that city and the other writers who like lived there and their lives and the wars that happened there. But that was the main Iliad thing.
Okay, so Stephanie's works with Tim in, after he's done being a soldier, he goes and works in, as a spy or whatever. He's working at this government agency, and that's where he meets Stephanie. And she works as an agent too, but she's all prim. I think she's Parisian, right? She's up class, and she's kind of
trying to cure him of his trauma.
Yeah,
they're just really good. Fuck, what is it, dude?
Huh?
It's about
Wait, but okay.
Go ahead. My bad,
so she's obsessed with his time in the war, and he doesn't want to talk about it, of course. So she pulls up a documentary about the war and just like trying to goad him into saying something.
She wants him to spill his trauma, and so she can cure him and then control him.
So she goes, she's pragmatic. She's curious. She wants to know, and this is how it goes. There is a bang, bang. She wants to understand. She wants to put herself in my place. She insists. And what's it like to kill someone with a small
page?
323 in zone? What's it like to kill someone with a small, hesitant voice, almost beseeching? So I explode. I think of Lowry and Marjorie in Sicily. I say to her, you'll see for yourself. I get up. I find the Yugoslav 765 in the wardrobe. Stephanie is dumbfounded like a good conjurer. I hand her the weapon. I show her the cartridges in the clip. I shove the breech, lift the safety, catch. I say to her, you see, there's a bullet in the chamber. She's paralyzed with fear. I go over to her. I say, you want to know what it's like to kill someone? So I grab her by the wrist. I put the gun in her hand. She doesn't react. I place my finger next to hers in the trigger. She doesn't understand. She's paralyzed with fear and surprise. I stick the muzzle in my mouth. Stephanie shouts, no, no, no. She fights. I put pressure on her finger. She presses despite herself on the release, shouting no. Instinctively, she hits me with a terrific left jab worthy of Zeus in the mouth. The pistol goes click, and that's it. Because it was just, the pistol didn't work, but he wanted to scare her.
Yeah,
he scared the shit out of her.
Stephanie collapses too. She's hiccuping as she sobs. She looks as if she's going to throw up. She's curled on the ground. Her hair hides her face, and I leave. I leave her lying alongside that little black Zastava, the gun with no firing pin. He goes running downstairs, runs across the bridge, goes to a damn whorehouse or something.
Yeah,
starts getting blackout.
No, he's crazy.
Man's
with
wild
that too.
But then this also comes right before. This comes right after, the story of Malcolm
Lowry strangling his wife.
Strangling his wife.
Yeah.
But then,
where's that at? You want to read some of that?
Well,
or what?
That was earlier, but on that same page you read.
Yeah.
See, this is another. I mean, this is like actually where a lot of my what a lot of my notes were about when I was reading Zone. Was just like I guess the general idea of just things being wrought, just like a certain amount of okayness in the world, just being wrought out of complete fucking confrontation with just horror and death.
Yeah.
And then others, and then some people out here just eating off it and specifically trying to block out the whatever direct tie you have to the trauma and the real shit that led to it, and that's the because right above that it goes I'm not watching the screen. She's trying to make her watch. She's trying to make him watch some shit. So be like, oh, are you triggered? Like, tell me about it. Then I'll take care of you.
Yeah,
I'll be your. One of the women was like a mom. I think that might have been Marianne actually.
Yeah,
but it just goes, I'm not watching the screen. I'm plunged into my memories. I've understood that they'll never find out who killed Paul Jenks. They'll never know. I keep drinking, leaving Stephanie to her disgust with mercenary soldiers' Slavonic hail at the end of the tape. She stays silent while she hesitates to ask me questions. She doesn't know where to begin. Suddenly she realizes something. She says, "So you killed people?"
Yeah.
And I'm
Son.
do that voice.
That's
you like killed people? And I'm flabbergasted. This cultivated mind is incapable of admitting that she too is touched indirectly by violence, splattered by my actions as civil servant who prepares strategic options for the French army. Doesn't realize what there is at the other end of her work. No, I spent a few months gathering mushrooms and singing dirty songs. I feel,
and he's funny
I feel
like that
mute
too,
rage rising in me. What exactly does she want to know? But how many? It reminds me of those teenage trysts when you ask, so how many guys? So you've slept with how many guys? Yeah. I have no idea. Stephanie is stubborn, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big part of, I think, the project of this book. Because if you look in the back, he thanks a bunch of people whose stories he used, and he names names in the book. Yeah. Like the characters' names are people he interviewed and stuff like that. Yeah. So he went around collecting these stories from like the Balkans and stuff like that of people who were in that war. Like here he says early in the book, I'm a savage, brutal and coarse, who despite all the civilized threads that all the books I've read have clothed me in, remains a wild primitive, capable of slitting an innocent person's throat, of strangling a female and eating with my hands. And then he's talking about how my father looked at me strangely the last few years. He saw the uncouth brute behind the functionary from the Ministry of Defense. He guessed for almost 10 years to what point my savagery might have gone, and even at his last hour, ill, pale on a sickbed, he couldn't keep from staring at me, scrutinizing me with his gaze to remove my jacket, my shirt, my highly civilized human shell, and lay bare my hairy chest in ritual scarrings. And then he shows up late to his dad's funeral, and he goes the wrong plot, and he's all drunk and hungover. He's really a mess.
And wait, what page is that?
That was 164.
Because that's when the Malcolm Lowry story.
Yeah,
is.
You're
It's
right.
Around 170.
Yeah.
But oh yeah, dude, I literally marked that exact same part. Let's go, dude.
Yeah, and then
okay,
so might as well talk about the way the Stephanie thread kind of culminates.
Yeah, well that's
right?
where the savage stuff comes back.
You know, that's 478 is when it starts. So he pulls up from a trip. You know, he's on.
Aloud to somebody. You want to read it?
Yeah, I'll read some of it.
Okay, read some of it.
So he pulls up. You know, he was just on a trip collecting information. These trips, and he gets all drunk. He probably fucks whores, whatever he does on these trips because he's all fucked up. Yeah. But so he gets there, and she comes to his house. And
it's one of the greatest stretches of writing.
I know. It really is.
Century.
I heard it's 478 is when it starts.
Yeah.
I heard her climbing the stairs a little anxious. Why was she coming? Maybe one of those proofs of love that you plug the cracks with. A surprise. She came in smiling and kissed me tenderly, saying just surprise. She asked me if I had a good trip. And then, she's looking, and he doesn't get why he's there.
Yeah.
And he goes, I hazarded, I forgot your birthday? Is that it? She gave a slightly false laugh. How stupid can you be? She simpered. Almost inane all of a sudden. She was all giddy, and now he says that. And she was at a loss, looked for a place to sit down, decided to remain standing. I had a foreboding of something despite myself. I didn't say anything. She chatted. I handed her the little transparent crystal star from Bohemia that I had bought for her. The object carved by the slaves in Greek, wrapped up in red tissue paper. I said, look, this is for you. She said, oh, that's nice. Thanks. And she was so nervous as she tore open the wrapping that the trinket fell down. That got on my nerves for some reason. And he's so good with that. Like these little, that got on my nerves. She dropped my trinket. Yeah. I picked up the gleaming star saying, hey, watch out. And I was holding it when Stephanie whispered, I'm expecting a baby, and let herself slide into the armchair, looking at me intensely. I didn't say anything. I wasn't sure I'd understood. The usual phrase was, I'm pregnant, and not, I'm expecting a baby. I handed her the little glass star. You almost broke it.
You almost broke it.
Her eyes misted over a little. She murmured, that's all you have to say? We were on opposite sides of a river, making incomprehensible signs to each other. I replied, and you? I felt absolutely nothing at this announcement. Nothing. 4 unreal words. I turned my head away. She said, I'm such an idiot. We never keep our mouths shut at the right time. I stammered, no. She got up and muttered, I knew I shouldn't have come. I repeated, no. She got annoyed. She shouted, am I leaving or staying? We never keep our mouths shut at the right time. I sighed, whatever you like. She trembled and went out almost running, leaving me alone with the Prague star still between my fingers. And then she doesn't come back, of course. And you could read the
Well, this is one of my markers.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm also like, I'm trying to figure out what fate and destiny are.
Yeah.
And I got some real authorial, cryptic bars.
Yeah.
Coming. But he's talking about it constantly.
Yeah, for sure.
He said, I didn't rush over to the stairway. I didn't shout, come back. I sat down in the chair to look my share of fate in the face. Impossible to imagine what Stephanie's word represented. Yeah. And then he goes, this is triggering as whatever. Yeah. You read my book. But then he goes, maybe we'll keep reading it.
Yeah, read. I mean, because this, honestly, pick up zone, go 478 to 482.
So he goes, look, I didn't rush over her to make her come back. Impossible to imagine what Stephanie's words represented. Impossible to see what there was in her belly. I remembered the last time we had slept together 4 days before, but it wasn't that coitus. It was one lost in the number of coituses of the previous weeks. During the weekend in Istanbul, maybe. You can't know. Did Stephanie know? What? What was there to know? It was there in front of me. Have a child. This right here. Back to the Iliad. Have a child. Don't make the choice of Achilles the sterile, but that of Hector. Hector talks with Andromache, his wife, of the beautiful Peplos on the ramparts of Troy. Hector protected his city. His wife begs him tenderly not to go to war, not to leave the great walled Ilion, despite the cowardice of his brother Paris, the wretched fop. He sweeps her complaints away with a gesture. He says, leave the toils of war to men, for you the children, for me the keen sword. I know that I'm going to die and that Troy will fall, and that's how it is. I will have a child.
Yeah, and then he goes, I saw myself with my father on my back, and him with his, a pyramid of fathers as high as the ladder of St. John Climacus, all of them overlapping each other, laughing like demons at seeing their sons bending beneath them. So I got up and went to the kitchen, and then he drinks all the champagne that she brought, and then the next day he sees her, he meets with her, right? And she was very pale, defeated. She said to me, you are a monster. I know everything about you. You are a monster. I never want to see you again. How could she have changed so quickly? 2 days before she arrived at my place holding a bottle of champagne, now I was a monster. Maybe she'd hoped for a transformation, a change until the very end. Maybe she had imagined she could live with the monster. I said nothing. I looked at her with a great sadness. She left. I'd been a father for 48 hours, a monstrous father who eats his children. It was 7:30. I ordered a plum brandy. Then he gets all drunk. He gets all drunk.
Out. Yeah.
Damn.
No, but basically, the part you glossed over was like, she leaves. He goes and realizes what she put in the
it was champagne.
Refrigerator was a bottle of champagne. Then he just starts getting drunk. He realizes he can't have the child, or he realizes that she's going to get an abortion.
Yeah, because
I called without success for. What was that?
No, go ahead.
I called without success for 24 hours. I was shaken, anxious, and happy. I kept calling her because I think he decides he wants to have.
Yeah, because definitely at the end he feels like he should have.
Initially, at night, and then he goes. I was afraid I'd wounded her, frightened her like a wild animal. The wild animal was my father. It was me. My father was right. Old Priam was right. She couldn't have the child with the barbarian. The choice of Achilles is no choice. Because if you're Achilles and you're just a fucking killer, and you're just getting revenge.
And Achilles was fate bound in the whole Iliad, right? Because his mom told him, I don't know, whatever, the people who know the Greek stuff, she told him, if you fight in the war, you're gonna die, right? If you don't fight, you'll go home and you'll be okay. But if you fight in the war, you will die. Right, so that's part of why he wasn't fighting. He was like, "I'm not going to die for you, Agamemnon." Right, so he's fate bound. He couldn't have done differently. And I think he feels at the end he was a coward for not reacting differently in that moment. He wasn't, because I think he feels like so fate bound, and the original sin thing, right?
Yeah.
The Immaculate Conception. He can't have a baby that's not going to be damaged by his sins, by all this whole weight of violence and sin that came before him. So he feels like he's not strong enough to bring someone in who's going to repeat all that.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he can't say anything, but that. But man, Enard's so good at those moments, especially like in a relationship, with just fucking up and saying the wrong thing in the moment and ruining it.
He writes, dude. He's got a good male gaze.
Yeah, he does. He has a good male gaze.
He's somewhere in between me and Welbeck.
Yeah.
He doesn't go all the way. No, because another thing is he's writing about like in some ways there is this element of like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was hitting for me because I'm just like I don't know. It's just like what? When's the last? Whatever. We're just removed from war.
Yeah.
Especially how war tactics even are now.
Yeah.
They're just removed.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
And it's like people are always like, "What? You're you
Yeah.
think you're at war?" And I'm like, "Bro, like this shit doesn't just come out of
Yeah.
So there is that element of sort of like he's telling these like gnarly stories, and it's like very like Iliad masculine energy where it's just
for
like,
sure.
Like I'm a fucking savage. It had some like fuckboy energy.
Yeah.
Like some like damn I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's definitely a savage. Then like early on, he's in that bar. And he's all drunk, and he goes up to that woman who's like in her 60s, and he's like hitting on her, and she's kind of like me, like
oh yeah,
and then he fucks her, and he's all like it's they both hate each other.
Yeah, dude,
I
just read the part with Sarah when he has that dream of being on like a ship with Sarah. And
oh
like,
yeah,
naked him. And the host, but he also. He has so many layers of just academic knowledge that I'm just like, damn, I guess you got to be real clever with the.
Yeah. No, I mean.
But I was going to say, it's also another sick ass thread of Zone that is just like, he's on, and then every time, I mean, dude, there's some about that, like, the more you shrink the real time scene.
Yeah.
It's like when you come back to it, I don't know. You need that real time scene.
For sure.
You need that real time scene. Scaffolding to.
Yeah, for sure.
But otherwise, that story of remembering the memory of Stephanie.
Yeah.
Like this is oral. It's urgently telling you the story that's been fucking stuck in your gut for fucking ever, and you just but hanging on something. But it's not all just like like I'm this dude and then these women
for sure. It's not like that at all.
He's reading a book the whole time.
Yeah,
he's trying to read this book, and
the
it's
book
like this novel about this like
it's this
woman Intisar who's
Palestinian fighters in the Lebanese Civil War.
The Lebanese Civil War. And she's like a savage.
Yeah. And the love of her life dies.
Love of her life dies also.
Right? And she goes and gets his body.
And he's all reading it, and he's like, this is hitting for me.
Yeah.
This is like it's like the podcast.
Yeah.
It's like, I swear to God.
Yeah. No, he's like beautiful Intisar, yeah.
What'd you say?
No, yeah, he's like reacting to it. He's like, beautiful Intisar. It's such a good story.
No, he's like, Intisar is me for real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because she's like, basically, his love of his life dies.
And then he's like,
her corpse, and he's cleaning.
Yeah, he's like, I wish I could have cleaned Andy's body.
Happened to his bro.
Yeah.
And he literally says that. He's like, damn, like the synchronicities are crazy.
Yeah.
He's like,
he does. Dude.
That's like me, dude. Or that's like the part. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. But she's like a savage. But also the guys are trying to fuck her. And her too. In the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just.
And there's you didn't get to it yet in Compass. It's like 365. So we get this whole, it's what it is it's a story that, not a story, but it's Franz wrote it after he came back from Iran. Okay. He's remembering this night. It starts on 357. He's remembering this night in Iran when Iran.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Sarah's thesis advisor, that guy who's he's an old dude who's got a lusty gaze. He's telling this story.
Guy,
he's telling this story about when he was there for the revolution in Iran when he was young.
Yeah.
Right? And he fell in love. He knew this guy who was French. This guy, I forget his name. But he got so into Iranian culture, and I mean, he could speak Persian perfectly, and he was like a poet, and he started using a name, like an Iranian name.
Okay.
And he fell in, like, he started dating this girl who, it was like Intisar and that Marwan, right? Their relationship, they were like revolutionaries.
Right.
But the thesis advisor, I mean, when you get to this, it's gonna hit for you.
Yeah.
But the thesis advisor is telling the story of he met this woman, he fell in love with her, and he was trying to, like, get with her, and so he talked to the authorities, and he got the guy sent away. Her boyfriend, who was Iranian, he got him sent away, and then he, like, it's alluded that he, like, raped her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, he was just pressing that, and he was in love with her, and he's telling this story to Franz and Sarah while they're all drunk one night.
Yeah.
They're, Sarah's all embarrassed that he's telling this. She can't believe it. And Franz is like, he wants to know what happened between him and this woman.
Yeah.
But the guy ended up hanging himself, and then the woman never talked to him again.
Damn.
No, but yeah, it was a lot like the Intisar and Marwan story, because the guy, so Intisar was with that guy, and then his friend tried to rape her, and she ended up killing him.
The protagonist Zone is on the train reading this novel about it, and then it shows the actual text of the novel.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing too. The way he does the intertextual
and same
stuff.
in Compass.
Yeah,
it's the actual.
He
text
does it a lot more in
of
Compass.
the thesis that she's sending him.
Yeah, he does it a lot more in Compass with the intertextual stuff. But
so in Zone, it's about he's carrying all this trauma of been in war.
Yeah,
his friend died. His grief too.
Yeah,
and the trauma
for sure
of having murked a guy.
Yeah.
in war, or people in war, and then he's on this night train. Where is it from again?
It's from
Istanbul to Rome.
No,
not Istanbul. That's too
I forget
far.
Where he starts. I think from Milan. I think it's Milan to Rome.
It's a 12-hour night train.
Yeah, 500 kilometers, 500 pages.
Yeah, and he's about to turn in all the documents. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Turn in all the documents, to on all these war criminals.
Yeah.
But then he ends up, and then he's realizing he's getting his hopes up about this new girl, Sashka.
Yeah.
He's gonna make.
Yeah, he's getting.
He
thinks it's gonna, because she thinks that he's a, like an insect scientist. What do you call them? Etymologist or something?
Oh yeah, entomologist.
Yeah. She thinks that's what he does. That he's just a little bug collector.
Yeah.
Right. That's what he told her. And she paints icons. More Catholic stuff.
Okay,
right?
that's another thing. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, she paints icons, but that's the same as in septology.
Yeah.
His dead wife.
Yeah.
Alice.
Did she paint icons?
She's an icon. She paints saints.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
maybe it's she paints saints, but he's not a saint. He's like, but he pulls up, and then he kind of goes oh, I'm just trying to make her my. He kind of says fuck it at the end.
Yeah, of Zone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at the end
and
of Zone,
he says fuck this suitcase, fuck everything.
Yeah, that's what he said. He's gonna throw it into the damn.
And he keeps changing. What about this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Random epigraph at the end of the book from Ezra Pound: to confess wrong without losing rightness.
So this is kind of what got me into the book in the first place.
Okay, go ahead.
Was the first epigraph is from the first canto, and at the end it's the last canto of Pound's cantos. Right, the first epigraph, it's the first 4 lines from the cantos.
Oh yeah.
It's and then went down to the ship, set keel to breakers forth on the godly sea, and we set up mast and sail on that swart ship, board sheep aboard her and our bodies also. Damn. Which is the first lines from the cantos, which is translation from the Odyssey.
That's right. Well, I got a book for you too. Don't
oh, okay.
Yeah.
But and then the last one, I really like that.
Yeah. To confess wrongs. To confess wrong without losing rightness, charity have I had sometimes. I cannot make it flow through. A little light, like a rushlight, to lead back to splendor. But to confess wrong without losing rightness, it is about confession.
Yeah, it is.
And he tells the whole story about Malcolm Lowry, who wrote Under the Volcano, getting all fucking blackout and choking his wife, right?
Yeah.
And then
she left him one night, and she came back to find him dead.
Whoa, dude. That's what happened?
Yeah, he drank himself to death.
Fuck, dude. And then, but then he says, the narrator says, the whole gnarly story you read with Stephanie and scaring the shit out of her with his gun.
Yeah, he's confessing.
He's confessing.
Like
he tries to kill himself. He jumps in the river one time.
Yeah, he does. And
then he says someone grabs him, pulls him out. He might have been imagined it.
Yeah, and just how the threads work. He's talking about Caravaggio a lot, and Caravaggio's decapitations, right? The decapitations.
Yeah.
And then that all culminates with, where was it? It's toward the end, but where he decapitates it's on 500, where he tells a story of there was a guy, a soldier, a Bosnian soldier, who was laughing at him, and he decapitated him just out of anger and revenge.
Yeah, he said he was the village idiot.
Yeah, The Village Idiot.
That was like the culminating.
So he's doing Caravaggio the whole time, thinking about these heads, and it's all threaded throughout. Like everything's there. Like early on, even, he like say something.
Yeah, but damn, dude, some funny ass scenes in here.
No, it is kind of funny too. Like when he's
all fucking.
How about when his mom's teaching piano lessons?
Yeah, that part is gold, dude.
Wait, well, I'll pull it up. It's 178.
178. Dude, I really just gotta read the most perverted parts just so the kids will start reading.
Read 178.
All right, dude. 178 is so funny, dude. God, why is it, dude? Yeah. He's talking about his sister. I swear to God, dude. What year did this come out? I think it's Full Red Fuckboy, dude. I think he's copying Fuckboy. All right, I gotta chill. That's not even a funny. Okay, 56. All right, we're good. No one's gonna. His mom is a concert pianist, and his older sister or his sister is like all good at piano, and he's like a little kid, and he's like. And
they bring girls over to.
Yeah. So he goes like, Lita spends her day listening to him. She go, I remember one.
What page you on?
177. Is that where it starts?
No, the next one I think. 178.
Oh, okay, bet. Well, basically he's saying like, she greeted me. Yeah, basically. Okay, I gotta stop reading and just say it. Yeah, his mom brings over these other girls to teach them piano when he's a little boy, and he's like remembering them. I remember one precisely. She must have been 3 years older than me and came twice a week at around 5 or 6 o'clock. I was just getting back from school. She always wore a skirt. She was a little plump with a round face, long blonde hair tied back. She greeted me nicely when I hurried to open the door to her. I took her duffel coat and I observed her breasts. They seemed giant to me. I breathed in the smell of her coat as I hung it up, and I watched her walk into the study, the piano room, which we called the study, her music scores and notebooks in hand. I spied, with the door ajar, on the girl approaching my mother, to see how she settled down by the piano and lifted her skirt sometimes to position herself on the stool, a mechanical gesture, a terribly erotic second for me. I thought I could glimpse her underwear through her wool stockings. I felt the friction of her buttocks against the burgundy felt, the movement of her thigh when she leaned on the pedal. I got a terrible erection, an immense desire that drove me to the bathroom as a Liszt etude or a Chopin polonaise. She was gifted, resounded. The rhythm of her fingers on the keyboard must have been, I imagine, my own or my personal instrument in desire and in music. While I hated Liszt, Chopin, and all those horrible maternal notes, I came terribly, too quickly. The desired student was made to start again of her tempo, and it was my mother's voice more than once that interrupted my pleasure with her, no, not so fast, from the neighboring room. She seemed to be directing my masturbation herself. Start over. So funny, dude.
No, that's hilarious. No.
Yeah, and her dad's, and then she gets in a fight. He gets in a fight with his sister, and is all like holding her down.
Yeah, and then her dad goes, "You're a savage.
Yeah, you're a savage.
Leave
your sister alone."
And that was funny. His mother goes, "No, your son is not a savage."
Yeah, and then.
But he is a savage. He confesses himself.
He characterizes different women. And one time he goes like, Marianne was like wanted to be my mom. Like Stephanie was like all like trying to culture me. She was like come from like
It's funny. The attitudes toward women are different in Zone and Compass. Right, in some ways. Like, they're similar in a lot of ways, like in just how he describes relationships so well, and he describes desire really well, and like fucking up, and what you're supposed to say and what you're not. But Francis is like, he's a soldier, he's a brute, right? I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Around. He has multiple women,
know. And this is 30, 36. It's like, I didn't finish that. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
My bad. Well, it's just like trauma, or whatever. PTSD is the word I'm looking for.
For sure.
Not trauma, PTSD damn near from all this shit. And then he's looking at different women, and then the catharsis is like turning away from all that. And war.
Yeah.
It's like PTSD is his own thing. Like I was doing that structure earlier or whatever. And then looking at war, and like someone asked me like, how much is like generational trauma or like whatever. I shouldn't keep saying things I'm writing for like, interviews, but everything is genealogy. Like,
yeah, true.
Especially the early books. Like,
Yeah.
this is not only his own genealogy repeating, it's the genealogy of place. He always does it. There's a place, there's a war, and he relates it to earlier wars that happened before.
It's all, the soil springs
before.
everything up.
Yeah.
And
so go
ahead.
My bad. And just to say, with Compass, it's not trauma. It's he's 42 now.
Yeah.
It's illness, and he's looking at not war. He's looking at a lot of composers because he's a musicologist, right?
Yeah.
But he's also looking at writers, and he's looking at
people mad in love.
Yeah,
people mad in love.
He says the Brazilian word saudade.
Yeah, saudade.
Saudade.
It comes from, and we find out at the
melancholy.
end, it comes from.
It's about melancholy. Yeah.
It comes from. They think the Arabic sawad, which means black bile.
Wow.
So you're filled with black bile if you got saudade.
Oh wow, yeah. And it's that dude. There's some, and it's the longing. It's like being up.
Yes.
It's her writing, and he's all like, "Bro, some of the," and then he gets into some of the memories with Sarah are fucking so good, dude.
So Franz is a lot sweeter than Francis.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
Soldier. He's sweet. He's actually sweet.
He's sweet.
Francis is
sick.
He's just trying to figure. And I think at the end
that's how it's gonna be. My first book, I'm a savage. Second book, I'm
real
sweet boy.
At the end of Zone, when he decides, he's not gonna go see Sashka, and he throws the suitcase into the. That seems like a kind of catharsis,
absolutely,
in some way, right?
Absolutely.
Where he's letting go of war, he's letting go of these women are gonna save him.
But that's what Faulkner trying to do every book too. That's how
break
he's
the chain.
Yeah. I mean, to some
it
degree,
is Faulkner.
You could even say,
it's Faulked out.
Yeah, you could even say what Elementary Particles is like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little, he's a little more whatever. But it's totally. But then, damn.
But yeah, so it's funny that it's Zone. That's about as happy as an ending you could get for a book, brutal like that. But all these books have happy endings.
They do?
Yeah.
So he sees Sarah at the end. He's got it, right?
No, okay. So let's do.
Should we?
Yeah.
Yes. Transition to
Compass.
To Compass.
Yeah. Let's talk about Compass.
Okay, let's talk about Compass.
How deep?
We're at an hour. Should we switch over, or should we go a little longer?
Oh, let's go a little longer. We
Okay,
might as well
cool.
talk about Compass a little.
Okay.
But okay. So let me give you. So.
Okay.
So
Franz. We get the blind owl real early on. You go ahead.
So we get a lot of.
I'm gonna let you rock on this.
No, and that's funny. Like, no, it's not. But reading Zone and this and the Gravediggers, it's just like God. Like, there's so much to read. There's so much to learn. Like, it makes me feel like God. I just want to learn stuff.
Dude,
like,
that's like what I was saying about being in a state of reverence.
Yeah. See, I mean, it's.
This puts me in such a good headspace. I've been writing so much.
Yeah, that's how I was feeling too. I was charged up.
Damn.
But. And see, it's all like real erudite, right? And he knows, but he always comes back to the human stories, and that's what's interesting about it, right? He always comes back to
romantic stories.
Yeah,
often.
the romantic stories too. That's what gets me. That's the romantic story. They're all romantic stories.
Yeah, dude.
He's a romantic. He's a French.
But he's looking at his relationships, his interpersonal relationships.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, and then. With the heightened intimacy of an interpersonal relationship, maybe that's why this is hitting harder, because they're more seamlessly connected. Like the reports on the war criminals is obliquely connected to him spazzing on his girl.
Yeah,
or whatever.
Oh well, no.
But the text of her writing, they have an intellectual. Dude, some of the intimacy of writing, sharing. I mean, dude.
Yeah, and then
it's not just nerds being
like the
last
up. The last 100 pages is or the last 70 is a lot of their letters back and forth.
Wow. Dude.
So you'll like that. But
okay, you go on Compass.
Yeah, let's go. So you read the part where they're in the desert and they're sleeping together in the tent.
That's
right?
the best fucking part.
Yeah,
dude.
that's
I was literally dead off that part.
So wait, where is that part? Do you know where it is off the top of your head?
Yeah, dude.
I thought it was there, but
it's so funny. Like he going back to his spot. He's just like, "Fuck, am I gonna make tea? It's fucking late as fuck, dude. This is like me, dude, for last night."
And then he goes. So they're together in Damascus, right? And he tries to go up to her hotel.
Okay, that's late. Yeah, that's later.
Yeah. But no, when they're sleeping together, that's because they're traveling together, right?
Well, there's just one funny ass story. My favorite part so far in the book.
Yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. was just when they're like traveling around. They're in Damascus. They go to some like historical site or something. And
Yeah.
they wait till it closes or the tourists.
Yeah, they're out in the desert.
They're out in the desert. They sleep in this little. They sleep outside. It's like this little damn tent. And they're all spooning, and he has a whole rant about how spooning is the most intimate thing.
Yeah.
I gotta find that, dude.
Yeah, that's what I was trying
And
to find
the whole
too.
night,
That's so good.
he's just like, my face is like in her hair. He's like, I'm trying to fucking. But he's like such a good little academic.
Yeah,
he doesn't.
he's
do
really
it.
sweet.
Yeah.
And
Then they get woken up to tourists. It reminded me of sleeping outside. That happened on the walk a couple times. I wake up, people around me. I'm like, oh shit, dude. You know?
Yeah.
And
No, and it's funny that the whole book
You
he
find
does.
that? No.
He never talks about being with any other girl or anything like that, or he goes on one date early.
Yeah.
And with some woman from the school, and he thinks she wants to fuck him.
Yeah.
And he's worried because he got underwear on that got the elastics broke.
The elastic's loose.
And then
they're
she,
pink.
Wait,
And he's
I
like,
want to
"I'll
find
never get
that
naked
too.
in front of her.
Yeah, and then
And it's
he's
her coworker. He's all like, "Damn, dude, now."
and then she wants dessert. She wants the tiramisu, and he like clowns her for it.
Yeah.
He's like, "Why would you?"
He's just in his apartment, just like stupid.
Wait, damn, I should have.
Oh yeah, I was trying to figure out what the compass was. He was saying in Islam they put a damn compass on the damn
On the
rug, so you know which way to pray to Mecca.
Yeah, see, there was compasses all the time. Right, where was that? Damn.
Okay, so I stopped. Okay. Yeah, see, Sarah, it's also her indulgence towards female criminals, traitors, and poisoners is still a mystery. She had danger.
Yeah, that's funny. She's like out of his league. She's smarter than him.
Yeah, she's all writing all these crazy ass fucking texts about like the gnarliest people.
Yeah.
In history. Yeah.
But so wait, they spend the night together in the desert and they spoon and he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then later on, he tries to go to her hotel room. Oh, did you find it?
No.
Yeah. Later on, he tries to go to her hotel room, and she turns him away because she's married to this dude who's a real musician too, and he's really
what's his name?
he's
Madid
Syrian.
or something?
Namid.
Namid, yeah.
I think, and he's Syrian, and he's a real musician, and he's so jealous of this guy.
I know.
But so eventually they later on, I'm gonna spoil this for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're in Iran, they're in Tehran, and they go to this, they're at this party kind of, some music, they're listening to music, and they both get a little drunk on a fake concoction because they can't drink wine, so they're drinking this concoction. What do they call it? A white Iranian or something like that.
Yeah.
And so they're on the cab ride back home. And he goes, "This is $3.90.
Okay.
All right." She was leaning against the door, turned to the window in the night of Tehran, which was streaming past us. The driver was shaking his head to ward off sleep. The radio was blaring some slightly sinister cantilinas about dying for Palestine. Sarah's right hand lay flat on the artificial leather of the seat. And the details, too. The details are, with everything.
From that place of an urgent,
breathless
memory of a
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
that's been gnawing at
It's
you.
like a photographic memory. This moment was so
But then it
important and
becomes
intense, right? So, okay. Her skin was the only brightness in the compartment, and I took it in mind and I was able to catch hold of the heat and light of the world. To my great surprise, without immediately turning toward me, it was she who held my fingers tight in hers and drew my hand toward her and didn't let it go, not even when we arrived at our destination, not even hours later when the red dawn set fire to Mount Damavand and invaded my bedroom and lit up, in the midst of the sheets crisscrossed with flesh, her face made pale from fatigue, her infinitely naked back where there lays, rocked by the waves of her breath, the long dragon of vertebrae and the traces of its fire, those freckles that flowed up to the back of her neck, like so many stars whose fire has been quenched. The galaxy that I journeyed across with my finger, outlining imagery, voyages, while Sarah, from the other side of her body, clutched my left hand below her breast. And I stroked her neck, illuminated by a thin pink ray of light, sharpened by the Venetian blinds, as the dawn hummed, still surprised by this total intimacy. By her breath made sweet from fasting and hints of alcohol, the details too, and he's so sweet.
Yeah.
Astonished by the eternity, by the eternal possibility of finally burying myself in her hair, of traveling at leisure across her cheekbones, her lips, stunned by the tenderness of her kisses, lively and laughing, brief or profound, short of breath at having been able to let her undress me without any shame or embarrassment, blinded by her beauty, by the reciprocal simplicity of nudity. After minutes of or hours of cloth, friction of cotton, of silk, of clasps, of tiny clumsy gestures, attempts at oblivion in the unison of body, of heart, of the Orient. In the great ensemble of desire, the great chorus of desire where so many landscapes are found, past and future, I glimpsed in the night of Tehran Sarah naked. She caressed me, I caressed her, and nothing in us sought to reassure ourselves with the word love. So deep were we in the murkiest beauty of love, which is absolute presence next to the other, in the other. Desire satisfied at every instant, renewed at every second. For every second we found a new color to desire in this kaleidoscope of light and shade. So they finally have sex. They spend a night together after yearning. You know, the whole book he's yearning.
Though?
This is a memory, right? Of when they were.
It's from 5:33 a.m.
Yeah. So, and so they,
up.
yeah, he's still
Up,
up.
dude. Still up, dude.
And so he's remembering that, right?
Yeah.
And you know, they wake up. The sound of prayer wakes him up in Tehran. You know, beautiful moment.
Classic.
The next page, right? We get 6 a.m. Right, 395.
6 a.m.
395.
Damn.
In Tehran, at the end of the day, after that incredibly sweet night, she hopped onto the first plane to Paris, the red-eye with Air France, trembling with suffering and guilt after spending the day without having closed her eyes for a minute, rushing from police station to police station to settle those sordid visa matters Iranians excel in, armed with a piece of paper sent urgently by the French embassy attesting to the extremely serious state of her brother's health, and begging the Iranian authorities to facilitate her departure, even though she had the intuitive sensation at the sound of her mother's voice that Samuel had already died, right? So she finds out the next morning, look,
Her brother died.
Her mother had called her without success all evening and into the morning, desperate, had contacted the institute, the consulate, moved heaven and earth, and finally, when Sarah, throwing me a kiss from afar, had modestly closed the bathroom door for privacy, they had come to inform me. The accident had occurred on the previous evening. The accident, the event, the discovery. No one knew anything yet. Sarah had to call her mother back at home, and it was the words "at home" rather than the hospital or God knows where. It was the words "at home" that made her sense the worse. So immediately,
That's what happened.
they spend the night together, and she wakes up the next morning, gets a call that her brother in Paris has died, and she got to get out. Right? And so a lot of the moments they have together earlier in the book where they're like...
So they start writing letters at the end?
Yeah, he's reading their old letters from
old
after
letters.
that. But then, okay, at
Does
the very...
it go forward?
Huh?
Does it go forward?
It does. She finally hits him back. Right? So because he sends her a note. He sends her a note that says, he answers her article saying...
Sarah took pity on me.
He said, "Dearest Sarah, I received your off-print yesterday morning. I didn't know they were still printing those. Thank you very much, but how horrible, that Wine of the Dead. I'm worried all of a sudden. Are you doing well? What are you doing in Sarawak? Here, it's everything as usual. The Christmas market has just opened in the middle of the university. Atrocious odors of mulled wine and sausages. Do you plan on coming back through Europe soon? Send me news. Much love, Franz." And then he goes, after he writes that, he's like, fuck, I shouldn't have talked about the sausages. That was stupid.
Yeah, he's always like, maybe she's all fucked up.
Yeah.
Maybe I should write. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
And then she emails him back finally in the morning, right? It's like 7:30 a.m. She goes, "Franz." And then she sends him a long email and ends it with, "There's something I never told you. The last time I went to Vienna," and he's always thinking about this, when she didn't stay, she stayed at a hotel, right? Instead of his house.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. This says 4:43. "I agreed to stay in that luxury hotel they had offered me, remember? Instead of sleeping at your place. That made you terribly angry. I think it was in the secret, slightly childlike hope that you'd accompany me there, that we'd resume in a beautiful unknown room what we had begun in Tehran." And then she sends him lines from a song. "All of a sudden I pine for you. How beautiful Vienna is. How far away Vienna is."
Damn.
Right? And then he finally writes her back at the end, and he's, spoil it for you, but you'll like the...
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
the Enard you can reread. This is
Yeah.
my reread,
Yeah.
like there's a lot to take in. But anyway, he's worried about it. What should I answer her? What should I answer her? He doesn't want to reveal his true feelings, right?
Yeah.
Then finally goes, "East, the direction of the compass and the purple archangel. You're surprised by the marble of the world, veined with suffering and love. At daybreak, go on. There is no shame. There hasn't been any shame in a long time. It is not shameful to copy out this winter song. Not shameful to let yourself give in to your feelings." And he writes the
So it's
lines
about shame.
from a song. Yeah, shame.
And illness and shame.
Right? And he goes, this is the lines he sends her. "I close my eyes. My heart still beats fervently. When will the leaves at the window turn green again? When will I hold my love in my arms?" And then he ends with his lines, "And to the warm sunlight of hope." Those are the last lines of the book.
Damn.
Into the warm sunlight of hope. So we get the sunrise all night, and then we wake up.
Rosy finger dawn, dude.
Yeah. So how about that? We get zone goes into the night.
True.
And then we get this compass sunrise.
All night up to the dawn. Yeah.
Yeah. How about that?
But also, because it starts out when he's talking about people with all these fucked up illnesses, he's all ashamed of himself. He's like, I'm never gonna be naked in front of a woman again.
Yeah. He is ashamed of himself.
And then he's talking about like the part where I tapped out or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't tap out. I just ran out of time. But there's a lot of stuff about, he's often going into in both Zone and this book, like the Nazi.
Yeah, for sure.
Like race scientist.
For sure. That Globino, he said, the first race scientist.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Who I'd never heard of. That was.
And they're all trying to rid the and he's talking about all these disease. He's ill.
Yeah.
He's got an illness. He's got a mysterious illness, right? Something about that.
But yeah, so and what these two books are hugely about, right? In which I think comes to a culmination in the Gravediggers Guild is the other, right? There's a self and the other. There's all these, especially in Compass, right, which is about the Middle East and traveling
Occidental versus Orient.
Yeah, exactly. It's the other, finding yourself in the other. Wait, there was a good line about that.
Yeah, he was making me think some things about Palestine and stuff.
Yeah, he was saying a lot about the Middle East, and it's.
See, but listen to this. Hedayat had one of those wounds of self that make you reel through the world. It was the crevice that opened up until it became a crevasse.
Yeah, Hedayat, the blind owl.
And he taking opium. He wants to take opium.
Yeah. Yeah, opium, because it starts out with the opium thing. Opium's a big part of it, too.
And then, 100 pages in, he's like, actually only done opium 6 times maybe. But he's just in his apartment. Fuck, dude, I'm trying to hit some opium right now. This girl Sarah. At one time we fucking spooned. I didn't grab her breast. I shut up. Fuck.
See, it is damn, when he zooms in on a moment like that, like them laying together in the desert or them in the hotel room, it's like.
Well, I realized. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's just. See, but listen, also Kafka spat blood. See, so then he's talking about other people. It's always about him, which must have been far more unpleasant, those red spots on his handkerchief. How horrible. In 1901, Viennese out of 4 died of tuberculosis, apparently.
Yeah.
Was it the disease that made Kafka so popular? Was it the disease that was the origin of the misunderstanding?
Yeah,
illness.
And then he
talks about illness.
Yeah, the tuberculosis thing, too. He has a whole, little rant that he addresses to Thomas Mann.
Oh yeah,
right where he's. Where is that?
I just read that. It's 317.
Yeah.
Maybe? No, 280. Right here.
Which the Magic Mountain. That's a big tubercular book. You ever hit that?
No, I never hit it, dude.
Me either. I just read Death in Venice.
I know he goes to do convalescence in the dam. You did? Yeah, sometimes there's just.
Yeah, but there is the sickness, and then there's that Anne-Marie Schwarzenbach throughout the whole time, who Sarah's obsessed with, she's the lesbian from who she was friends with the Mons,
Oh yeah.
And she was Carson McCullers was in love with her, and she was romping around.
These peripheral historical figures.
Yeah,
romping around with people we know.
Yeah. And Sarah was obsessed with her, and she was all sick all the time.
This is so funny. He's clowning the.
Where is that?
He's clowning academics on the bottom of 130.
130.
Yeah, he's on the bottom of it. He's he just goes Sarah was very happy to find herself among all these Orientalists to observe them. Sometimes she sounded as if you were describing a zoo. This is the academic place in the damn Middle East, in Damascus, I think. A zoo, a caged world where many people gave into paranoia and lost all common sense, nurturing magnificent hatreds towards each other, madnesses, pathologies of all kinds, diseases of the skin, mystical deliriums, obsessions, scholar's block that drove them to work, to polish their desks with their elbows for hours on end without producing a thing.
Yeah.
Not a thing, aside from the brain steam that escaped through the windows of the venerable institutions that evolved into the Damascus air. That's very that's like me when I was reading too much. I had to stop and write something.
Yeah, it was just your brain steam.
Yeah, I was just emitting brain steam.
But that is, reading Enard really it makes, the feeling it gives me is I want to write something. I want to go out into the world. I want to learn something. It's a very expansive. He's got such an expansive mind and heart. With all these books have that. Like it's just this huge, And okay, the point I was gonna make earlier about the other, right? So he goes, a lot of it is about finding yourself in the other, except but okay, let's see. Okay. These mystical considerations by the fireside we had taken for the expression of literary whim, the latest fad of a scholar, the revelations that summer gave them an entirely different meaning. Secrecy, love, guilt. This is him reflecting on what the story that her thesis advisor told him. Secrecy, love, guilt. We could glimpse their source. And if I wrote this grave and solemn text when I got back to Vienna, the recollection, it's probably to record them in turn as much as to rediscover through prose the presence of Sarah who had gone, which is what he's doing with this whole book. Plunged into mourning, overwhelmed, to confront her sadness in Paris. What a strange sensation rereading yourself, an aging mirror. I am attracted and repulsed by this former self as by another, a first souvenir inserted between memory and me. A diaphanous leaf of paper that light passes through to outline other images on it. A stained glass window. I is in the night. Being exists always in this distance, somewhere between an unfathomable self and the other in oneself. In the sensation of time, in love, which is the impossibility of fusion between self and other. In art, the experience of otherness. And that's the key to all these books, right? It's the
otherness infusing into the art.
Yeah, the unfathomable self and the other in oneself.
Right.
And try to merge it into
one
something.
Composer was like the first person who brought, was it Beethoven who brought in like the Orient into Western music?
Yeah, it was Mozart or Beethoven. Who was first? Beethoven was first. Oh, and then he got that whole there's one good bit of Beethoven bombing. Like he has, exactly. He's playing the concert.
First time he played, everyone's like, nah,
and the piano's jacked up, and he can't hear, right? And he's going, and they're all like, no, but they know him already. He's like famous, and then he's clanking it out, and he can see on their faces that he's playing bad. That was.
I found the spooning part.
Oh, where is it?
It's 172. This part's so damn good. It goes, so they all posted up, and they're under some blankets. They're not even in a tent. Sarah rolled up into a ball against me, her back against my stomach. She kindly asked if that bothered me. I had tried not to let my enthusiasm show through. So they're lying down together in this. It's some tourist place, but it's a historical site outside. Of course not at all. She said doesn't. And I blessed nomadic life. Her hair smelled of amber and wood fire. I didn't dare move, for fear of disturbing her breathing, whose rhythm overwhelmed me. I tried to breathe like her, adiago at first, then largo. Next to my chest I had the long curve of her back, barred by her bra, whose hooks I could feel against my folded arms. Her legs were cold, and she had entwined them slightly in my own. The nylon was at once soft and electric against my calves, my knees in the hollow of hers. I had to try not to think about this proximity, which was of course impossible. An immense desire, which I managed to stifle, consumed me despite everything in silence. The intimacy of this position was at once chaste and erotic, like the Orient itself. And before burying my eyelids in her curls for some hours, I directed one last glance beyond the blue wool at the sky over Palmyra to thank it for being so hospitable. Then they wake up, and there's a bunch of damn tourists around them. And then he's like, it's still all good, dude. The next night, we're going to sleep in the tent again. And they're traveling. And then in the night, they're like, oh, you got too far to go. You got to sleep in this one tent. It's like an Islamic tent.
Yeah.
And they're separated.
Yeah, they do.
And women. He's like, fuck, dude. I was going to damn press up on her again.
Yeah, that's funny. And, I like the, it's obvious that Enard knows a lot about Islam, too. And just because I think sometimes, and it's Ramadan now that we're doing this, past sundown, right? So we're feast mode,
somewhere, dude.
Yeah, me too. It's on my desk at home. I'm in the introduction still.
Nice. Me too.
But this idea of like the Islamic world as you think of it as a Christian, like sometimes you think closed, and
Yeah.
but he has this, he paints an Islamic world that's very,
Yeah.
productive, and they're, everything about it is very expansive and big.
Yeah.
And these, he contrasts it with the Islamists and the ISIS and all that,
Right.
going against their own
Right.
culture,
Right.
really, and breaking stuff and crashing stuff. And that, and this leads you, the Enard leads you into some Wikipedia holes too. And I was finding out the family that runs Saudi Arabia now, that started it, the original Saud, when they're Wahhabis, right? They follow a strand of conservative Islam from this dude Wahhabi. They don't call themselves that, but it's the dude Wahhabi who started it in like the 18th century.
Yeah.
And they think any site of like with any significance is like an idol and should be destroyed.
Yeah.
So they like dug up like Muhammad's burial ground and cemetery, the original cemetery where Muhammad and his descendants were buried, where all that was like, sacred holy place. They dug all that shit up and destroyed it, and it's just, and I think he's there's something very against this conservative element of culture. In both of them, of
Because
like closing yourself up.
He spazzed on Wagner. He calls him like an anti.
Yeah, he does. He spazzed on him.
And he's like,
because he's trying to keep a purity of music without any influence.
Like, all his books are everything he made except for, he's like, you don't listen to me. Nietzsche felt it too.
Yeah.
He's like all his music is trash except for Tristan and Isolde. Everything else is just so fucking hypocritical and Christian.
Yeah,
overly
it's,
Christian.
Yeah, it's too Christian.
It's
like,
too Christian. He's
yeah.
snapping, dude.
No, but
he's really spazzing on historical figures.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he takes it to task.
Listen to this though. The next night.
Where's that?
No, it's just 179. It's a little bit after that bit I meant, and it's just good longing bars to continue. My pod is just a bunch of dudes sitting around reading like books about sad men, about their longing of their failures and their cowardice. That's the theme of my pod now. Just Dean reading like the saddest shit from Welbeck. But he goes, this is also a good example of how he comes back to real time seeing. He's like, I'm thirsty. How much time do I have to how much time do I have left to live?
Too.
I could get up, put my headphones on, and listen to music, see consolation in music. There's something about music being, he says, it's the one thing to take you away from like the linearity to death.
Yeah.
And wars and pain. It's like music is one little thing outside of time. Yeah. It's its own time. But he goes, I could see consolation in music. In Nadim's Ode, it says like a Middle Eastern spelling of ode. Anyway,
no, I'm
O-U-D.
not sure what that is.
I don't know what that is. I circled it. But for example, or in a Beethoven quartet, one of the late ones, and he goes, "What time is it in Sarawak?" That's where she's at.
Yeah.
If I had dared to kiss Sarah in the morning in Palmyra instead of turning over like a coward, everything might have been different. Sometimes a kiss changes an entire life. Here we go with fate again. Fate changes course, just like Blind. Blind's always spitting about fate. Sometimes the kiss changes entire life. Fate changes course, bends, makes a detour. Already I'd returned to Tübingen. I was looking up Tübingen, the town in Germany.
In Germany.
A bunch of like
where he studied.
Yeah. Like where what's his name? Some of the great German poets, like
what's it, Heinrich Heine?
Hoderlin.
Yeah,
Hoderlin.
Yeah.
That town looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, it does.
Dude, all these little ass Germans as fuck, dude. I was like, I'm trying to go exile there.
No, and then but go ahead.
No, it just goes a little bit further. I realized how insipid our otherwise profound daily connection seemed. Oh yeah, and then he's talking about this other woman he went and seen, right?
Yeah.
He dated. He's like, and I realized how otherwise profound, how insipid our otherwise profound daily connection seemed compared to what I had glimpsed with Sarah. I spent the following months thinking about her and writing to her more or less regularly, but always secretly, as if I was sure that in these nonetheless innocent letters, such a powerful force was at work that it placed my relationship with Sigrid in danger. Emotional affairs, bro.
Yeah.
Those late night letters, dude. No, but something about the connection. But yeah, he has such a.
Huh.
I guess we said it. It is an orientation towards like it's just romantic. I don't feel like romantic's not even the best word.
No,
it is romantic. It's longing.
Yeah, it's
incommunicability, overwhelmed by the.
There's a lot of overwhelming. He's overwhelmed by
his ladies.
Yeah, he's in love. He's overwhelmed by, all this music and all this history, and it's just a very like
ecstatic. It's ecstatic.
It is ecstatic.
The form.
Yeah.
Dude, this is the form. Dude.
Yeah. For sure.
Like just on that, like like a crowd. Yeah. If there's something you want to write about, you could start from the beginning and build up a scene to it.
Yeah.
Or you could put the character somebody else and have something encounter something in life and have all those memories just gush on him.
It's the memories. You got to have the memories. And I
different.
think he's a lot like Antunes actually. Like he sometimes he got some bars I'm like he has to have read Antunes. Right.
He has to. I mean, he's definitely read Bernard.
I mean,
obviously.
yeah. He mentions Bernard by name.
He mentions Bernard.
Yeah, but I mean,
What do you say, Bernard? And you talk about revenge with Bernard.
Yeah.
Bernard says, "Oh look, I'm fucking open to it. I'm such a dude. I'm fucking clairvoyant, bro. People take revenge for the help others give them." That's what he said. Wagner's anti-Semitism is hypocritical. He just got mad at the people who helped him. Sometimes people do try to get revenge on the people that help you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, bro?
For sure. For sure.
I fucking triple mark, bro. For real, bro. I'm trying to help you. You guys trying to get revenge on me, bro.
No.
He was hypocritical like all anti-Semites.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? I'm trying to find the damn passage where he goes on that date and he's thinking about his underwear.
That's funny.
You know where that is? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's probably right around. That was 179.
It was early.
And that was 179 was what I just read, but it's after that I think. Yeah, and then like he like spastically just leaves the date.
Yeah.
He's like, why did I even go on a date with her? It's like, well, obviously I wanted to fuck her.
Yeah.
What's that?
What do you think? We should take a second.
Yeah, let's take a sec.
Yeah.
Let's switch over. I'm talking crazy about.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start talking real crazy.
Give him the free 90.
Yeah.
Hop on over the Patreon when we, really get into the meat. That's a good educational introduction for the kids. Boom.
Read an art.
Yeah, read an art.